Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. I have got another special guest and another comedian. I don't know if you call comedians a flock of comedians or a school of comedians, or I don't know, but another comedian, DeAnn Alaine, and she is a precious lady in the Lord, a comedian and a speaker. Welcome aboard from Orlando, Florida. Welcome,
Woo-hoo!
DeAnn. Welcome.
Oh my gosh, Andy, thanks so much for having me. Good morning to you. Wow.
Thank
What
you.
a day. I'm so excited to be here. I want everyone to know, if you haven't seen Andy's video yet with him sporting some jam on his forehead and a pen in his beard, please take the time to watch that. That's what stopped me. And I don't know about you, Andy, but I love sometimes seeing a hot mess. Sometimes seeing a hot mess makes me just feel a little bit more less of a hot mess.
Yeah. And if the truth be known, we're all a hot mess anyway. That's the truth, right?
You go ahead, preacher. Go
So
ahead.
so we were just chatting before this interview started, and there's just so much that you and I have together that our paths, I'm amazed they haven't crossed before now. But tell me a little bit about your comedy, what you're doing now, some projects you're doing, and where God's brought you right now.
Wow, what a loaded question. So, that we all know what 2020 has meant to our families, to the United States, and to the world, has really brought kind of this laser focus to something that may have seemed ambiguous before, like maybe I'll try this or maybe I'll try that. Well, coronavirus had a way of making laser sharp focus happening because so many distractions were put aside. And so I was no different in that situation. I had been in a car accident a year and a half ago, and the Lord used my pastor's wife to speak into my life about comedy. And a few months later, last year, right before the this coronavirus came to this grand stage of our world, I went to actually a silent retreat. And you're like, how does a bunch of women go to a silent retreat? It was a challenge. Was I
There
silent?
there's some one-liners in
No.
there that I'm not going to go with right now, but I've got some great ones right now. So
So I was sitting in this gorgeous chapel, stained glass window, out in this campground, the most unlikely of places. And I said, Lord, I really want to hear from you. And I expected to hear from him. And what I did not expect was to get comedy ideas from him sitting in that chapel. And he said, in this season of recovery from the car accident, I want you to learn. I want you to focus. I want you to grow. And I want you to write. And I had assumed that I was going to be writing Christian music. I've been a singer songwriter for many, many years. What I didn't know was that it was more like musical comedy, and that the Lord would actually mesh my two favorite things in the whole wide world together to bring me now into 2021, where I'm getting like a little opportunity here and little opportunities there. So something from nothing is basically my story. And I don't know what that something is yet still, but I know that, like you, with this incredible Morning Moments program, it's evolving into something way beyond what we could originally anticipate, you know?
tell me about the car wash blues or whatever you call it. You said something.
Oh my goodness. So, okay, everybody, go to Mod Wash Moments with DeAnn Alaine. There is a Facebook page. I know it's a long name, but every week there is a guest star and they're in my car and we go through the car wash together. And it really, again, it started from something so minuscule. I just remember my car was dirty a new car wash had just opened up like 2 blocks away. And I thought, oh, I'm going to go through the car wash. And it was really a hard day for me. And I remember going through the car wash and seeing the rainbow foam and the fun colors and the fun lights and going through, and the fragrance from it changed my demeanor. It just like, oh my gosh, I love this. I love this. I love this little moment. And so I captured a friend of mine named Rebecca. I didn't know this was not planned. I said, Rebecca, my car is dirty. This is like a week later. Let's go through the car wash. So we go through the car wash. I said, oh, I'm going to record it. And people started watching these mod wash moments. I didn't even know what to call it at the time. So we are like singing Christmas carols. We're playing games. And for the most part, each week on Thursdays, I post a mod wash moment. And I have to tell you, the Lord was really teaching me in that moment that that in the midst of challenge, in the midst of trial, there are still things to be enjoyed. Not everything is a burden. Not everything is just a tumultuous mess. That there are moments like your morning moment, like mud wash moments. I love that moment is captured in what God is doing in this fellowship between the two of us, because it's just a moment to say, hey kids, I've got you. I just want you to relax. I really want you to enjoy what I have placed around you. And he reminded me with this simple little car wash that I can experience joy in the simplest things. And so now it's a show, and I have Princess Anna and Princess Elsa strapped in life-size balloons of them, and they're talking back and getting smart and taking them to the chiropractor's office. And I mean, those girls, they're going to make it around. They're going to make it outside of Orlando.
You know, when you were talking about the creativity flows, and as you was getting alone with God and praying, those comedy ideals came. I often during worship service, when we're listening to worship songs and people are praising the Lord and all that, I am sitting there with a piece of paper writing. My wife's going, "Oh no, here we go again," because some of the best ideas I have is when I'm in worship. And it may have nothing to do with the worship song, but later that creativity comes out and God uses that funny story or the song or whatever. And it's just amazing when we get our heart right spiritually. It's amazing
Yes,
how God speaks to us, isn't it?
I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way. Um,
Absolutely.
I learned early in my life that I am good at messing things up. I don't need anybody's help. And so for the Lord to redeem a life that used to be plagued with trouble, that used to be plagued with my own mess, and to have this testimony that um, the Lord is making my joy full. That joy is a skill, that joy is a strength, but it has to be focused on to become that strength. It has to be intentional.
Here's what I'd like for my audience to do. I want you to look down below at the comment section. There's going to be some connection in the comment section right now of the show that DeAnn was talking about, where you could listen to a show. Also follow her on her Facebook page, and also in the social medias that I'm going to drop down below, and follow her and support her through encouragement, through prayer, and when things open up, go see her in concert, and buy a ticket and go see her in concert. And more important than anything else, I want you to be praying that God continues to use her in a great and mighty way. I'm also going to ask you, if you've enjoyed this interview and this talk and has encouraged you, pass it on your Facebook page, and get a hold of that that YouTube interview that's being displayed on the bottom to this interview right here, and pass that on. And the next DeAnn, I want to thank you so much for being my special guest today, and and may God richly bless you in your work.
You too, Andy. I love what you're doing, man. You can count on me watching in the morning for that moment just to help me get my day right.
Okay. And thank all of you for watching us and joining us again for Morning Moments, and may God richly bless you today.